Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we're back with another massive show to bring you guys this morning. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video, give it the thumbs up, and also please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's see if we can hit 500 likes on this video. So please do give it the thumbs up, get involved. On the show this morning, we're going to be talking about the question, has Erik ten Hag lost the dressing room at Manchester United, right? I will be opening up the conversation to you guys in the comment section and in the live chat, so make sure you get your thoughts in. Let me know how you're feeling this morning in relation to the Manchester United managerial position at the moment. We'll also be bringing you some injury news, some other bits as well, lots and lots to get into. But obviously, as you all know, guys, most of the focus on the show this morning is going to be on last night's dismal performance against Newcastle, losing 3-0 in the Carabao Cup. Let's talk about that game first before we talk about Erik ten Hag. And you know what? I don't really know how I feel this morning. I'll be honest, right? I've got so accustomed to Manchester United being shit, let's be honest, right? I know it's early in the morning, so I do apologise, but I've got so accustomed to Manchester United being, not very good that I'm just not surprised anymore. Newcastle were the better team. They were playing their B and C team. There was people in that squad for Newcastle who apparently haven't started a match for them since January. We're in November. It's nearly the end of the year. 2 or 3 of those players literally hadn't played a minute's worth of football since January for Newcastle. They had 6 fullbacks playing. The whole of their defence were fullbacks. I mean, it's absolutely crazy, it is. And you know what? As I said on my my match review, last night, the first people that need to be blamed are the players for that performance last night. What could have Erik ten Hag done differently? If he'd have picked Bruno, people would have complained. If he'd have picked Rashford, people would have complained. In my opinion, the lineup he started with was the correct lineup. I think Hannibal was really good against Crystal Palace in that 3-0 victory. He got a yellow card after, 10, 15 minutes yesterday? And then literally, he should have been sent off, Hannibal, yesterday. He should have. And I will blame Erik ten Hag for that. He should have taken Hannibal off after he got that yellow card because he's clearly not disciplined enough. Yes, he's still very young. Yes, he's not, the finished product. But you need people on that pitch who are disciplined. I know that sometimes, people get a little bit hot-headed. But every time Hannibal seems to play, he does seem like a very hot-headed person, doesn't he? I remember he came on, was it against Liverpool? He came on and kicked somebody, got a yellow card. It's happened 2 or 3 times with him, and I do think he has a bit of an anger issue, it seems, from, an outside fan's perspective looking in. The rest of the players, I'm not going to lie to you, right? I genuinely would not be bothered if a single one of them from who started last night, looking through that squad, I'll do it quickly. I genuinely wouldn't be upset if any of those players left Manchester United. I'd be happy if all of them went from last night. I don't think any of them are good enough, People like Luke Shaw, Martinez, Varane, Wan-Bissaka, I think they're solid. I'm happy with them as the defence. I have no issue with them. But to have our defence starting for Manchester United as Reguilon, who's a Tottenham reject, went to Atletico Madrid and played 10 matches out of 60 because he was injured the whole season. We've got a Tottenham reject at left back. We've got Lindelof, who, let's be honest, is at very, very best, maybe 4th choice, 5th choice centre-back in a top club. He should be somewhere around there. If he was at, Arsenal, he would be obviously behind Saliba. He'd be behind, all of their other centre-backs. Harry Maguire, let's be honest, he's Leicester City quality. He is. He's all right in a back 5, but other than that, he's absolutely terrible. 2 or 3 of the goals, I think the last one at least, Harry Maguire and Lindelof didn't even try and put any pressure on the attacker, and the attacker just put it into the bottom corner. I mean, how easy is that? That's basic defending, not even running towards your man. And Dalot, I'm sorry. I know some of you like Dalot, but I don't know why we've overhyped this guy. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's very good. Whenever I've been to see Manchester United live and I watch Dalot, I think he's crap. I really, really do. And I think yesterday was another example of that. The first goal was absolutely embarrassing. He didn't even run back and they scored. It's happened 2 or 3 times. I remember in the Galatasaray game, Wilfried Zaha, he got out, literally he had the ball and Zaha just out-muscled him off the ball and put it in the goal. I mean, it is literally embarrassing. It's so poor. Maybe he'd be better. I'll say this, right? And I'll stand by this. I genuinely would probably rather see Diogo Dalot play in Antony's position as more of a right winger because at least he crosses the ball into the box. So, if I'm Erik ten Hag, maybe I'd look at that because Antony, let's be honest, is rubbish. put Dalot where Anthony is. Maybe you could make some use of him, because I don't think Anthony contributes much. Obviously, if you put Dalot where Anthony is, then you have a bit more defensive security as well. Maybe I'd try that. But Dalot at right back for me, I think defensively he's absolutely awful, terrible. Going forward, he's okay. Like, he can put a cross into the box, but I wouldn't say he's particularly good at anything. He's better attacking than he is defensively, but both I don't think he's very good at. Mason Mount, waste of £60 million. I mean, he was absolutely awful yesterday. I've been talking about him so much for the last 3 or 4 games, haven't I? I've said, it's so sad. I really want to see Mason Mount. You know, we paid 60 million for him. Give him a chance. Well, you can see why Erik ten Hag's not picking him. He was absolutely awful yesterday. Terrible. I will say this, though. He was the only player at the end of the match to go and clap the Old Trafford fans. So he earns a bit of respect for me from that. Yes, his footballing capabilities last night were absolutely terrible, but at least he has he's big enough to, after the game, go and clap the fans. So fair play to him for that. None of the other players, they all just went straight down the tunnel, but Mason Mount stayed out on the pitch and he went and clapped the fans. So fair play to Mason Mount for that. Obviously, I'll give credit where it's due, you know. Let's see who else we've got. Casemiro. I think Casemiro was our best player on the pitch, to be honest. I do. I think he was all right until obviously he got taken off. And the news this morning, which is making it even worse, is apparently Casemiro is now injured. Erik ten Hag, after the game last night, obviously spoke to the press, and he confirmed that he was taken off at half-time due to an injury, and he's going to be out for at least a couple of games apparently. So we won't see Casemiro against Fulham. We'll most likely see McTominay and probably Eriksen. I mean, it's just a joke, isn't it? And, you know, to think that we've got to go and play Fulham away from home on Saturday at 12:30. I mean, Fulham are a difficult side. They are. They've got a very, very good team. I say they've got a good team. They've got a good team compared to us. I think they're going to be a difficult team to beat. Yes, they've not been that good this season. Yes, they're down in 14th place in the Premier League, but I think it's going to be a very, very difficult match for us. Obviously, they won last night against Ipswich as well, so they'll have a bit of confidence going into that. They drew with Brighton the week before that. And I think that's going to be a very, very tough game. And you know what? I genuinely go into that game thinking that we're probably going to get beaten. They've got João Paulinho as their midfield. We're going to have McTominay and Eriksen. Just let that sink in for a minute. They've got obviously Jimenez as the striker. They've got some decent defenders. Like, they've got a good squad. They do. Obviously, they've got people like Andreas Pereira, who I know was not very good at Manchester United, but he's done well since he's been at Fulham. So I would say that this is our level now. You know, mid-table teams. These are the teams that will go and maybe be able to get a result against. Maybe. Well, as soon as we play Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, you know, Man City, we've seen what happens. You know, any of those top 10 teams this season, I would imagine we will lose. I would say that now, okay? I would expect us to lose to Villa. We lost to Brighton already. We lost to Arsenal. We lost to City. We lost to Tottenham. We just lost to Newcastle. We're going to lose to every single one of the clubs in the top 10. I would put money on it. Last season, right, we got 1 point from every single match against top 10 opponents. 1 point away from home. Absolute disgrace. It really, really is. And the question that I want to ask you guys this morning now, I want to ask you, has Erik ten Hag lost the dressing room? I want you to let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the live chat. Do you think that Erik ten Hag has lost the Manchester United dressing room? Obviously, I'll give you my opinion as well. Everybody who's just joined in the last couple of minutes, please do smash a like on the video. Give it a thumbs up. We've set a target of 500 likes for the video, so please do give it a thumbs up, and please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner. But yeah, let's talk about this. Has Erik ten Hag lost the Manchester United dressing room? I want you guys to let me know your thoughts in the live chat, in the comment section, and I will of course give my opinion now. There's a double part to this answer, okay? I think he has lost the dressing room. I do. I think the dressing room is lost, but I think the mistake we'd make here is sacking Erik ten Hag. I think that's the issue. I don't think we should sack Erik ten Hag. I don't. I think it would be the wrong decision. I think we need to look at these players. The fact that they throw all of these managers under the bus. It happened to Mourinho. It happened to Van Gaal. It happened to Ollie. It happened to, obviously, Ragnick. That was a disgrace last season. You know, there was leaks coming out that they were calling him specs behind his back, you know, because he has glasses and stuff. There was all this ridiculous stuff of these players literally just being children, you know. Most of them are in their mid-20s, acting like children. As soon as a couple of results don't go their way, they know the easiest option is to get rid of the manager and start again. Then all of the blame is, oh, it's Erik ten Hag's fault. Oh, he's not good enough. Look at these players. They've done it time and time again. As soon as a couple of bad results go, their heads drop. I mean, even when we let in one goal, if we're in good form, their heads drop. It's been like that for years. It's been like that for as long as I can remember. This is not an Erik ten Hag thing. This happened under Ollie. It happened under Mourinho. It happened under Ragnick. It happened under Van Gaal. It happened under every single manager. So, and when you think last night, right, we had Anthony Martial leading the line for us. He was bought when Louis Van Gaal was here 8-9 years ago. Absolutely mad. We had players from 3 or 4 different managers in that starting 11 last night. It's an absolute disgrace. So for all the people, you know, I listened to I seen a clip pop up on my my Twitter feed this morning. Gabby Agbonlahor talking on TalkSport, you know, saying, oh, he spent 400 million. I mean, look at the starting 11 last night, right? Of that squad, only 4 of those players are Erik ten Hag signings. 4 out of 11 starting. I mean, how are you supposed to implement some sort of style of play when you've got 4 players starting in your team that are players you've brought in? And let's be honest as well, right? Of those 4 players, I genuinely don't think a single one of them were his first choice options. Mason Mount, playing as a CDM. We know he wanted Frankie de Jong. Didn't get him. We know he wanted... who else did he want? There was somebody else he wanted, wasn't there? In that CDM position. I can't remember who, but we obviously know he wanted Frankie de Jong. He didn't get him. You look further up the pitch. He's got Anthony on the wing. We know that he wanted Gakpo. He didn't get him. Who else have we got? Onana. I think... And we know he wanted Onana, so I'm not going to say anything bad about that. Casemiro, again, we know he wanted Frankie de Jong. He got Casemiro. Like, you look through the team, and it's literally just random players that have been given to him because they can't get the players he actually wants. And to be judging somebody based on a team that only has 4 players that he probably hasn't even picked either is ridiculous, in my opinion. Obviously, Erik ten Hag does have some fault in this. I'm not saying that he goes, completely innocent, but I just think it's lazy. And I think, I saw this clip on TalkSport this morning, and Gabby Agbonlahor is obviously screaming for Erik ten Hag to be sacked, saying it's a disgrace, telling us that he was, Erik ten Hag was the one that went out and bought all these players. I mean, when I hear this stuff from these types of people, they're literally just contradicting themselves, because the thing you have to remember is, right, Erik ten Hag's job should be to manage the team, to coach the players, to do the training sessions. He should have an elite staff around him, directors of football, CEOs, people to go out there and get the players that need to suit his system. He doesn't have that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I will get a poll going. Let's get a poll going quickly. Everybody smash a like on the video and subscribe quickly. I will get a poll going. Has Erik lost the dressing room? All right, so the poll's simple. Has Erik ten Hag lost the dressing room? Yes or no? To be honest with you, right, I think he has. I don't want him to go because I think it would be wrong. I think that it would be, giving the players, letting the players off. It would be, it was Erik ten Hag's fault. Oh, he wasn't good enough. Oh, he was an Eredivisie manager. Blah, blah, blah. What, was that the same with Jose Mourinho? I mean, how many trophies has Jose Mourinho won? Let's have a look quickly, shall we? I know we've got a couple of winners in our team now, but I mean, the winners we have got are Casemiro, who's pretty much ready for retirement, and Varane, who, let's be honest, is also ready for retirement. He's either ill or injured every single game now. So you look at Jose Mourinho. He's won 3 Premier Leagues, 2 Champions Leagues, UEFA Cup, FA Cup, like League Cup times 4. He's won all of these trophies, right? And he gets thrown under the bus by these players. Now, I know the Jose Mourinho football wasn't the most pretty, but still, it's just the same over and over again. Somebody says, what is the future steps if Erik ten Hag is sacked? I'm telling you now, right, if Erik ten Hag is sacked, it will either be Darren Fletcher, it will either be him, or it will be... My brain's gone. My brain's gone this morning. I'm a little bit... Darren Fletcher or... Can't remember his name. The other assistant, not his... Not Mitchell van der Gaag. I can see the guy's face in my net. Steve McLaren. Yeah, it will either be Steve McLaren or Darren Fletcher, and that'll be it. And the season will even be even worse, and we'll just go down and down and down and down and down. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Paul says the dressing room was lost before Erik ten Hag. That is literally the comment of the chat, of the whole stream. 100%. I 100% agree with you. The dressing room was lost a long time ago. Player power has taken over. Players are rewarded for how many likes they can get on Instagram, for whether they can post a picture of their new haircut in the Manchester United strip, when they're wearing the tracksuit or whatever. That's what's seen as success at Manchester United these days, based on how many clicks, how many of those clicks directly relate to purchases of kits, how many of those clicks relate to new sponsorship deals. That's what Manchester United look at as success now. How much money can be generated, whether as a business they can make more money year on year. Imagine if we were winning Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, how successful we would be financially. But the Glazers don't care. They're happy because of the size of our fan base, we keep making money, more and more money every single year. And it doesn't matter whether we're successful on the pitch because we're still going to keep making money. Paul says maybe Potter until the end of the season, not saying that's the answer. I don't know, to be honest, about Potter. What is this? Some of the stuff that you see on Twitter, like, it's absolutely ridiculous. There's these accounts on Twitter who just literally spout random stuff. For some reason, I've just got a notification from one of these accounts, right? And they're trying to spread this rumour that apparently Erik ten Hag has resigned. I mean, what a load of rubbish. Like, why do people do stuff like this? Like, I guess it's just for the interactions. Like, ever since Twitter made it so you could earn money from interactions, it's completely ruined Twitter because there's people just posting up fake stuff constantly. Like, people trying to spread rumours saying that Erik ten Hag's resigned. I mean, you know what, right? I'll say this now. If I was Erik ten Hag, I would resign. I would. Not because I think he's doing a bad job, but if I'm analysing it from the outside, right, and I'm Erik ten Hag, there's no light at the end of the tunnel here. The light at the end of the tunnel was Qatar coming in, clearing the debt, giving him a whole new structure around him. The light at the end of the tunnel now for Erik ten Hag is that the Glazers stay and Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes in and buys 25%. And I honestly think that will be even worse than what it is now. So, yeah, absolutely mad, isn't it? It's crazy. But yeah, I wouldn't go for Potter, to be honest. I don't think he's good enough to be a Manchester United manager for me. Maybe someone like De Zerbi. I like De Zerbi. I think he's good. Obviously, Zidane's a name that's always mentioned, but Zidane would never come to Manchester United. He doesn't even speak English properly. I saw him talking about it in an interview the other day, and apparently Zidane doesn't actually speak English. So, yeah. I'm just seeing here, apparently Mason Greenwood got a brace for Getafe last night. Yeah. I don't know, but let's talk about what we can do in the short term. If I'm Erik ten Hag now, I'm going to a 3 at the back. I'm doing like a 3-5-2 or something. I think we need to just be more solid in the defence. I would say 3-5-2. 3 centre backs, have Lindelof, Varane, and you've got Johnny Evans. You've got a few options. Have 3 centre backs. Have have Wan-Bissaka and Reguilon, or Dalot and Wan-Bissaka as your right back and left backs pushing forward up the pitch. I would go for 3-5-2. I think he needs to change the formation. He needs to change the tactics. Max says, Kieran, the Glazers are not going anywhere. Even if every one of us wants them to, nothing will change. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And all of the blame, right? Everybody this morning's talking about the manager. How many people out there are talking about the director of football that we don't have? How many people out there are talking about how the Glazers have destroyed the club? Everybody's focused on the manager. And this is actually good for the Glazers because they'll be absolutely loving this. They'll be absolutely loving the fact that that all of the distraction is off them at the moment. It's all the focus is on Erik ten Hag. All of the failure is pointing at Erik ten Hag. None of it is pointing at them. David says, stay loyal to our manager and let him deal with the issues. I think it's gone beyond that, to be honest with you, David. I don't want Erik ten Hag sacked. I don't. I think he's the best manager we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson. I think he's good. I like him. But I think he has lost the dressing room. I do. I think the way he's handled Jadon Sancho is how a proper club should handle Jadon Sancho. But Manchester United aren't a proper club. They aren't. We're a social media club. We're a brand. We're a commercial club. And all of these players are babies. They won't like that. They won't like how David De Gea was handled. Some won't like how Ronaldo was handled. Some won't like how Harry Maguire was handled. Harry Maguire will have friends within that dressing room, and they won't be happy that Harry Maguire was stripped to the captaincy and stuck on the bench. If this was Manchester City, the players would just be got rid of. They would get rid of any of those negative people. Pig Teat says anyone blaming Ten Hag is either too young or extremely short-sighted. I agree with you, mate. I do. Losing the dressing room, right? That's on those players. And as somebody said in the chat earlier on in the stream, which I honestly think was one of the most intelligent comments I've seen on these videos, and they said that the dressing room was lost before Erik ten Hag even came. And I agree. When was the last time our dressing room was really, really together? There was a period in COVID where, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was here and there wasn't any fans in the ground, and it looked like they were having a bit of fun and everything was all right and they were getting to do whatever they want. Maybe then. But other than that, Mourinho, there was problems. Van Gaal, there was problems. Ragnick, obviously, they were all bullying him, calling him specs and all the rest of it. Yeah. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Beefy says, football reasons for Erik ten Hag in, please. Fair enough. That's a good question. I would say he's the best manager we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson. He's got the highest win ratio out of all of them. He got us third in the Premier League in his first season. He won us our first trophy in 6 years. The way that he handled people like Ronaldo and Sancho, I think, was correct. I think he's trying to instill some discipline into these players, which, let's be honest, none of them have taken well to. I think the football he did play at Ajax was good, but obviously we haven't seen that yet. Those are the reasons why I think Erik ten Hag is a good manager, because I like what he's trying to bring to the club. He's trying to break the cycle of player power FC, of brand FC, of Instagram likes FC. He's trying to change all of those things, and it's difficult because the players aren't responding to it. You know, the Rashfords, they don't like it. They don't like how Jadon Sancho has been handled, you know, and all the rest of it. And that's why I want Erik ten Hag to stay, okay? He succeeded in his first year. He completely outdid any of my expectations, getting top 4 and winning a trophy and getting to an FA Cup final. And I just think that they're bringing in, he's a disciplinary, discipline. I can't think of the word. He's, you know, the discipline he's trying to instill in these players is so needed. And that's why I want him to stay, because I think that you bring in someone else, unless you bring in someone who the only exception I'd make here, right? If we were to bring in someone who was stricter than him, maybe I would be into that. You know, someone who's literally going to come in here and absolutely tell these players straight. We don't want another Ollie. We don't want... I mean, imagine if Darren Fletcher comes in. He's just going to be like, go on, boys, go out on the pitch, have fun, just do whatever you want. There'll be no tactics. There'll be no future. It will just be in the present. We'll probably win a couple of matches and then they'll probably give him a new contract. You know, I mean, it's stupid, isn't it? Darren says, I think the bad vibes started in the dressing room with players expecting to have Greenwood back. Then there was Sancho and Anthony plus Maguire not being selected. Yeah, there's so many things to point at. There's so many years. Sean says Arteta finished 8th twice in his first 2 seasons and had to clean up Arsenal and had better funding behind him. Exactly. Yeah, discipline and... I can't say that word. David says we must back Ten Hag. I agree. Paul says everyone saying get rid of players, which I agree with, but how we haven't done for years. Oh, that's the problem, isn't it? We've given every single one of these players ridiculous contracts. I mean, Casemiro, right? 31 years of age. Yes, he has been one of the best CDMs in world football over the last 10 years, let's say. He's 31. We gave him $100,000 pay rise to come to Manchester United. Real Madrid didn't want to give him a pay rise, and we decided we would, and that's why he came. Let's not kid ourselves here. And this is why we can't... I'm not saying we should get rid of Casemiro. I'm just giving you an example. But you know what I mean. People like Varane, Casemiro, they're on absolutely ridiculous amounts of money that even clubs that like Real Madrid won't pay. Let's see what else we've got in the chat. Digital Sports Update says Glazer's out. Fred says, who's got the highest value to the club? Erik ten Hag or the players? 100% the players. As I've said to you many, many times before, this is player power FC. The players are the ones who bring in the brand deals. The players are the ones who sell the shirts. The players are the ones who get Manchester United likes and followers on Instagram and social media, which ultimately then generates brand deals and all the rest of it. Erik ten Hag does none of that. He's not like a trendy manager. He's not a Jose Mourinho who's his own brand. I mean, Jose Mourinho's probably got his own perfume brand by now, hasn't he? Erik ten Hag doesn't have that. Let me have a look as a laugh. Okay, he doesn't have his own perfume, but you get where I'm going here. I'm sure Jose Mourinho has done brand partnerships with people, and you could probably buy like Jose Mourinho... I don't know. You get my picture. Like watches. Jose Mourinho watch. Yeah, so Jose Mourinho has his own watches, and like, you know what I mean? He is a brand, Jose Mourinho, whereas Erik ten Hag isn't a brand. It'd be so much easier for them to get rid of Erik ten Hag than it is for them to get rid of all those players. And then the same circle will just go round and round and round. The fans will say, all right, let's give him a couple of years, see how he gets on. The Glazers just go completely unblamed, and it just repeats over and over again. Gary says 100% Glazers out. Well, I'm glad everybody's in. You know what's really, really nice this morning, right, is I would say 99% of the people in the chat this morning want Erik ten Hag to stay. And I think that's really, really important. And I'm really glad that all of you are so switched off from this mainstream media. Because if you go and listen to Talk Sport this morning, all they'll be talking about today is that Erik ten Hag should be sacked. None of them are Manchester United fans. None of them really understand what's going on at Manchester United. They probably don't even watch the games, but they'll all be there screaming, get Erik ten Hag out. He bought Anthony for 100 million. Like, and the thing I always find funny as well, when I was listening to the Gabby Bonlahor thing this morning, right? all of the prices he was saying was including the add-ons, which might never even happen. He was like, oh, they bought Højlund for 75 million. And it's like, mate, if you're going to do reporting, that's completely fine. Obviously, fair play to you. You're obviously probably earning good money being a TalkSport journalist, but actually give the correct information. You know what I mean? Being like, oh, we spent 100 million on Anthony. We spent 80 million plus add-ons. You know, I'm not trying to justify it, but I'm just saying, you know, coming on TalkSport this morning and telling the world that Erik ten Hag spent 75 million on Højlund when he spent like 60, like, there's levels to it, isn't it? And it's just not very good reporting, in my opinion. Somebody says Ten Hag watches. Somebody says, can you do a poll about how many people want Erik ten Hag out? Okay, cool. I'll do that quickly. Please smash a like on the video, everybody. Give it a thumbs up. Let's try and hit 500 likes on this video. And please do subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me do... I'm just going to get a poll set up. Somebody's asked for this. All right, there you go. We've got about 5 minutes left of the show, so I'll read out the last poll. 70% of you said that Erik ten Hag has lost the dressing room, and I'm part of that 70%. I think he has. I do. I think Erik ten Hag has lost the dressing room, but I honestly don't think that's Erik ten Hag's fault. I just think that the players know that it's easier for them to down tools, to blame the manager. The manager will get sacked, and then they'll be let off lightly. They all know that. They all have weak mentalities. They genuinely have. Darren says, I'm sick of the sack the manager cycle. When Ten Hag came in, I thought he was going to be the next best option behind Pep or Klopp. Malp says, Kieran, do you get bored talking about this club day in and day out? Not really, to be honest. I enjoy speaking to all of you every morning and evening. I don't really. I'll be honest with everybody, right? I've just, as I've said to you guys many times recently, there was a point, I think maybe last season, the season before, where something just clicked in my head and I just thought, this is Manchester United's level now. When we lost 3-0 to Newcastle last night, I wasn't even surprised. I wasn't like, get the Glazers out, sack the manager. Like, I was just like, this is the level we're at now. Like, and nothing you can say is going to kind of change that in the immediate future. This is just the level. And what I think the blow softens once you accept that. I know we shouldn't accept that. I know, yes, we're Manchester United, but I think that those days are gone. Those days are long gone. You know, I remember when we won the Europa League, the last trophy before we won the League Cup. I didn't even celebrate. I remember 6 years ago, I didn't even celebrate because I was like, we shouldn't even be in this competition. I don't care. We're Manchester United. 6 years later, when we won that Carabao Cup, I celebrated. I was so happy. And that just shows the level, doesn't it? You don't win a trophy for 6 years. The last trophy you win was a European trophy, which is a big trophy, the Europa League. Let's be honest. Like, I would be absolutely buzzing if we won the Europa League this season. I would. I would be absolutely ecstatic. Because to be like, oh, we should be in the Champions League. Should we? We lost to Galatasaray at home. We lost to Bayern Munich. We should have drawn against Copenhagen. We'll probably lose against Copenhagen next week. Like, we shouldn't be in the Champions League. We shouldn't. As soon as we play anyone decent, we're going to lose. So what's the point? And that's not our level anymore. It isn't. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Paul says, I agree with you, Kieran. It is what it is. We have to accept it while these leeches are still here. I agree. Danny says, we put too much effort into promoting our academy players. Sometimes it makes them feel like they are royal princes who are entitled to the crowns. Now it should be elite or out. Gary says, come on, let's get the likes up for Kieran. He's doing a great job. Thank you very much, Gary. And thank you to everybody who does support the channel. Barman says, we need honesty, Kieran, and need to put the blame on the responsible, the owners, board, and the players that are like deflated balloons. I agree. I said this to my friend last night, and he was like, I can't remember what he said. He was just like, wow. I was talking to my friend who's a Newcastle fan last night. Obviously, we were speaking back and forth throughout the game, and he was sending me a bit of banter. And I said this to him, right? So this was my immediate reaction right after the game. Okay, so he messaged me straight after the game. My friend who's a Newcastle fan, he goes pretty much home and away to every single game. And he said, the first thing he said after he lost, obviously he was laughing at me saying, ha, ha, ha. And then he says, are you Erik ten Hag out? And I said, no, mate, 100% not. First of all, I blame the Glazers. Then I blame the CEO. Then I blame the non-existent director of football. We don't have one. Then I blame the players. Then I blame Ten Hag. I blame Ten Hag last in this situation. I said, look at the state of the club. We're about to keep the Glazers and sell 25% of the club to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I genuinely think this is Manchester United's level for the next 10 plus years. I see nothing to make me think otherwise. We've won one trophy in 6 years. We're not a top side anymore. That was my immediate reaction after the game. And he just said bloody hell with loads of shocked faces. Fair point. Yeah. That was he was like shocked. Obviously, we were having a bit of banter before that, and I just went off on a deep one with him. And again, you know, he's not a Manchester United fan, so what I said to him was probably a bit eye-opening, because the only information he'll ever hear will be from like the Talk Sports and the Twitter, who are like, blame the manager, blame this. And I was just completely blew it open for him, and he was like, you know, obviously he'd just beaten Man United 3-0, but he was like, wow. But yeah, I'm going to wrap the show up here, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me on the show this morning. Let's have a look at the poll quickly. So the question was, are you Erik ten Hag in or Erik ten Hag out? 75% of you said Erik ten Hag in. I'm included in that bracket. And 25% of you said Erik ten Hag out. So yeah, there you go. I've done the poll. Everyone, please do make sure to smash a like on the video before you go. Please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner. This has been Daily Red Devil. I'll be back later at 6 p.m. UK time. So do make sure you hit the notification bell. Have a lovely morning, day or evening, and I'll speak to you all a little bit later.